fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is Reverend Eliot, your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner, coming to you live, not just from the city of New York, but 3 stories below the city of New York, where, since it's getting near Halloween, we have dusted off the old hidden entrance to the long-neglected Purple Grotto 3 stories below Times Square. And we are doing the show from the stalagmite, stalactite, I always get those confused, territory. All I know is that the stalactites and the stalagmites hate each other. They hate each other. But that's life. But Harrison the Owl is still down here. It's all the old favorites are still here. And we are awaiting, in the deep darkness of the chilled Purple Grotto, the coming of Halloween, which is next week, right? Wow, look at that time. Time do fly. It's up to you to be the navigator. Good night, folks. No, wait a minute. So I have to, I get into bad habits, like, because I used to work nights all the time. I worked nights. I worked in nightclubs. When I was 14, I started as a dishwasher in a restaurant, so I was always working nights. And I remember one day I was walking along, minding my own business in the city of New York here, above ground, and a person stopped and asked me if I had the correct time, and I let that go. I realized he wanted to know what time it was. And I didn't take umbrage at the fact that he was afraid I would give him the incorrect time, unless he specifically said he wanted the correct time. And I looked at my watch, and it was noon, and I said, it's midnight. And I realized I've been spending too much time working nights. So I just escaped down here into the darkness of the Purple Grotto, where we wait for the Halloween festivities to come, the real, not the parades up top there, not the little costumes, but the real Halloween with the spirits zooming in and out among the, dare I say it again, stalagmites and stalactites. There is a way to remember them. The stalagmites have a G in the word, and that means they come up from the ground, and stalactites has a C, which means they hang from the ceiling. You see? It's called a mnemonic device, and I learned that in the Boy Scouts 482 years ago, so it's pretty good. So here we are. We're going to be down here looking through the magical window of the tarot, and I am drawing up my plans for the holiday gift season. I already got a bunch of elves to deliver. You see, in case the kids are listening, so I'm talking about the elves, right? A bunch of elves delivered a new batch of the Mojo Brothers shaving soap, and that, of course, leads to something very sad that I posted on the Reverend Eliot's Tarot Consulting Facebook page. The Williams Shaving Mug Soap went out of business. I mean, the company, the conglomerate that owns them is still around, but they stopped. They no longer make those little round soaps to stick in the bottom of your shaving mug, which is, it's you know, I feel personally responsible because they went out of business in February of this year. And in November, December of last year, we introduced Mojo Brothers shaving soap, and I like to refer to it as survival of the foamiest. But you can still get our shaving soap, and that is a wonderful stocking stuffer, and I've got loads of those available. And yes, I do use it. I did like Williams also, but it's gone now. They were the first one. They were the first shaving soap for a mug. They were the first one made specifically for it. Prior to that, men just used to use soap, but this was a beauty. They'd been around since the 1890s, and owing to economic conditions, which you can hear about any place else in media, we're not going to go into that kind of sad news here, but Williams shaving soap is no more, which is sad. I saw this coming about 12 years ago when they stopped making their menthol brand. You see, that's no flies on me. I noticed that coming. So now I guess the only really good, affordable, luxurious shaving soap is Mojo Brothers shaving soap, which you can find at mojoacademy.org. Take a look there, and you can download a free brochure about the biggest mistake men make when they shave. And all this is by way of letting you know that there are still copies of the modern way to an old-fashioned shave. You'll see that there at mojoacademy.org also. I says, you know, I like to do things the old-fashioned way, and one of the things I like to do is shave with a straight razor, but if you get a real straight razor, kind of, you know, the heirloom, a straight razor will last 200-300 years. if you take care of it. And of course, that's the key. They take a lot of. They're very high maintenance. I mean, you think that woman down the block is high maintenance. This try a straight razor. You have to oil them and grease them and then run them over a stone to sharpen them, then run them over a strop to level them out. And I don't like to spend more time taking care of my tools than using them. You see, it's one of the reasons I don't drive. The cars take too much time, too much high maintenance. And but the shaving thing, there's a way around it. There's a way that you can get an old-fashioned straight razor shave with none of the hassle, not any of it at all. And I use it as a form of meditation because you pay attention to what you're doing. Let's face it. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If you take raw steel to your face, and you ain't paying attention, well, you're going to have not much of a face left. But it's not hard to do this. It's very simple. And there's ways to do it so that you're not going to cut yourself. And really, seriously, men have been doing this for hundreds of years. And it's the closest shave I've ever had. And I just enjoy it because, to me, it's like meditation. I hated shaving. It was a chore, but now it's meditation. You relax. I do anyway, and I do it. So I'd urge you to check out at mojoacademy.org, not just the shaving soap, but the book called A Modern Way to an Old-Fashioned Shave, which I wrote so I could share my experiences and knowledge with you. And ladies, that's a really good gift for men. You want to talk to my wife sometime about that. She just loves the way the smoothness of my face since I gave up using standard shaving stuff and switched to this. And I assure you, there is zero maintenance involved. There's zero maintenance. You don't have to worry about an heirloom $400 razor. Why bother? This is just beautiful stuff and a good stocking stuffer. So if there's something you want special for your guy or the guy in your life or some guy or to tip the mailman, I'm sure they'd love that. I'm not sure I want armed mailmen with straight razors. But what you might want to do is consider the Mojo Brothers shaving soap. And if you don't have a shaving brush, because you need a shaving brush to use shaving soap, take a look at mojoacademy.org and the shaving brush page, shaving soap page for an offer to get a free shaving brush. You see? Absolutely free shaving brush. And then also, this is all because I mentioned that there's a brochure that you can download. In fact, I like shaving so much that I do it before I go on the radio. That's a fetish when you get there, but it's relaxing. It's so soothing and it's quiet and it's your time and there's no point in rushing through it. So check it out. That's just my little hint for stocking stuffers for the day. Obviously, a book makes it'll tear your stocking. You don't want that. But the metal containers, that each metal container has one tablet. I know it's fashionable among shavers to refer to these things, shaving soaps, as a puck, but they are much smaller than a hockey puck, and they're technically they've always been called a tablet. Get that, that'd be a great stocking stuffer. It's a good gift for a guy because it's a nice old-fashioned traditional thing. And as somebody who reads tarot cards, hey, I'm into old-fashioned traditional stuff. So let's see what we have. No special announcements particularly to make. I took my little red things that I always take to get ready before a show. No, they're not uppers or downers. They're strawberry Pez. That's what I do. It kind of lubricates my mouth a little bit. I have no other announcements other than to say that if you have any Halloween stories or ghost stories, or if you want to be in touch with someone who has passed, this is the best time of year to do it because the veil between this world and the world to come is really thin this time of year. That's why we have these holidays now at this time of year. So I'm going to, as you hear, I'm shuffling up the cards. There you go. And I am now going to get into the readings. Why don't we just go right to it now that I've told you about Mojo Brothers shaving soap and down here in the Purple Grotto. It's a wonderful environment. I mean, there's a few bats that fly by from time to time, but that's just life in the grotto. We're going to ring a bell 3 times now to determine that we have entered sacred space. And now we pull back the curtain on the magical window for Mindy in Pasco, Washington. Hi, Mindy. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, maybe we can make that a little better. What can I look at for you?
Well, my cat, she's not doing so well, and I don't know what happened to her. I don't know if you can pick up anything on her. She had a mini seizure this morning, and
well, let's see what happened. Well, I don't know if there's anything I can see in the cards about it, but what I can do is I can I can show you how to send some positive energy. Let's see if there's something we can do. Would you like to do that? Let's see about healing energy. Sure. How's that? Sure. Let's see. What do we have here? Let me see if there's something specific. I'm looking in an ancient book of forgotten lore, as Edgar Allan Poe used to call it. Before a battle. I have to remember that one. Breaking a hex. I don't think I didn't see anything about any hex being there. How about this? Because there's a magical book that everybody's got. They just don't know they've got it. It's called the Book of Psalms in the Holy Bible. And here is one that you might be able to use. Let's see. What am I? I'm looking at this. That's silly. I'm looking at the wrong page. I'm looking for Psalm 89. So what does your genius here do? He goes to page 89. This is this is a long one, but I think that it's worth it because this is somebody. This is somebody. I know what you mean. This is a living creature who's very close to you. So recite Psalm 89. It says calls the attention of the great physician who can heal all maladies and ease all suffering. So you could just take like a white candle, burn it, and recite Psalm 89, keeping healing and health in mind, and that'll send positive healing energy. Okay?
Okay.
So, and let me just see here. See, I'm getting cards. I'm getting cards of protection. So maybe you can do something and just spread that protection around. How's that?
Okay.
Is there anything else you want some help with?
Just maybe if you have any information or any guidance.
I'm not quite hearing that. You're pretty muffled. I'm not making out what you're saying.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better because it was muffled before.
Okay. So I was wondering if you could, if you have any information on a battle that I'm battling right now with an ex-landlord.
Yeah, well, yes. I'm getting cards of a conflict and struggle. One thing is that it's the Seven of Swords, and that's a fascinating card. That means you're not being treated fairly. You're not being treated nicely. You're not being treated properly. So, but I guess you suspected that, right?
Yeah.
I have the Knight of Swords. That's about the appearance of conflict. The Eight of Swords, that you're not quite sure exactly which way to go, what's going to happen with this. God, Six of Swords. Well, this is a heavy-duty thing. I'm getting all these sword cards here. The Six of Swords is telling me that you're going to be able to deal with this and get to where you want to go. The Strength card here is good. They're not going to wear you down. That's usually the kind of thing that happens. Everything else is this is remarkable. Let me count these cards here for 1 second here, and you'll see what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. 8 of them are swords, and that's about conflict and fighting, and it's from this context. There's another one. That's also the Queen of Swords. It's looking good that you're going to win this, because I've got the 10 of Swords, which means that the worst part is over and things will get better. So hang in there with this, because that's the Strength card. It's saying don't let them wear you down, because if you hang in there, you'll do okay. All right?
Okay. Do you know why they're doing that to me, or do you know why they've done that to me, or what?
All I see is that they're mistreating you. They're not being fair with you. They're not being honest with you. They're lying about you. Does that fit in with what's happening? Yeah, because I've got those cards. You know, I got the 7 of Swords and the 5 of Swords. Those are cards about people not doing nice to you. And all the other sword cards are there too. But the main one is the 10 of Swords, which means that you'll survive this and you'll be okay. All right?
Okay.
Keep that in mind. And remember this. Remember the Strength card is here also, because that's saying that you have the strength to deal with this. And look, I've had battles with building owners myself that have lasted for several years. So I know that they have whole departments about wearing people down. You know what I mean? Some of them, not all of them, but some do.
That's what they count on.
Yeah, but they're picked with you. I think they're picking the wrong person because of. I have the 8 of Rods here, which tells me there's going to be some movement in this very soon.
Okay, so the direction I'm going is good.
You're headed towards changing things, because you got the 6 of Swords here, which says that you have a degree of control here, so you'll get to where you want to go. So that's good. Okay, so hang in there and see what you can do, and also get legal advice. Please get legal advice. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's really important. I mean, they've got it. You should have it too. That's the main thing. But it looks to me like you're doing well. It's like here, I have the Temperance card. That means in your life, the balance will be restored. It's difficult, but the outcomes are all very good for you here. So keep that in mind. And that may be able to help get you through some of the rough spots, because they balance and fear. And you're going to survive that. That's what my cards show.
Okay. Is my cat going to survive too, do you think?
That I'm not seeing one way or the other, but the card I just got now is the Sun card, which is about healing and health and growth. So there's a good possibility. But do what I said about the 89th Psalm and keep in mind healing when you read that, okay? You do it once a day for the cat.
I will do
and
that.
I will light a candle and send positive energy your way tonight. How's that?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hang in there. These are rough. I know these are rough times for you, but the Strength card shows me that you can handle it. You can deal with it. Doesn't mean it's going to be fun, but you'll get through it. And the 10 of Swords means the worst is over, so you'll come out all right.
Okay. Perfect.
Bye-bye.
And when you...
Okay. Thank you. I've got to run. And let's see. Let's just shuffle up the cards. So you're listening to Reverend Eliot's Magical Window on the Ask One Radio Network, 3 floors below the streets of New York in the long-neglected, virtually forgotten Purple Grotto. The old days. Alexandria in Atwater, California is next. Hi, you're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hello, Reverend Eliot. Thank you.
Oh, glad to be here.
My question to you this evening is, I've been trying to seek out a nice assisted living or skilled nursing facility for my 90-year-old dad. And because of the place he was living, it was sold to a corporation and they're closing down. And I have been looking every day, and I've been looking and looking, and I'm getting very stressed out over it. And I just want a little bit of confirmation that I'm going to find him a place soon, and it's going to work out. That things are going to be okay, because sometimes I just get really stressed out.
Well, yes, and the the cards I have indicate that the stress is there. First, I want to tell you the first card I have is the Wheel of Fortune, and that means the situation you're in now is going to change, and it's going to change for the better. So that's good. The next two cards are the Five of Rods, which shows a bunch of people in a little bit of a mob whacking away at each other with sticks. That is about a stressful situation and people fighting. And the Ten of Rods is there, which is an oppressive situation where a person is taken on a great responsibility and it's a heavy burden. So the cards are validating that, yeah, it's not like you're being weak about this. You're facing something heavy and it's weighing on you. And so that's, when the one thing that people worry about is maybe this is just not that bad and it's me. But no, this is very difficult for you, I can see. So that'll be okay. The Two of Cups is here. That's telling me that you're going to meet somebody who can help you out with this. And the Nine of Cups is a very good, happy resolution that things will be okay. It's still, I have the Three of Swords here, which is a heart pierced by swords, which means it's a very sad situation, but you're going to get it done and it'll work out. Here's the Two of Rods. That means a person waiting for the results that they're seeking, but they do come. So I do think you're going to be fine with this. Here, the Sun card again, I just had that a moment ago for somebody else. Healing and health and growth and happiness. So the cards are showing that you're feeling overburdened right now because you're in the middle of something that's really, truly difficult. It's painful and it's difficult, but you will prevail. That Nine of Cups is a happy card. This is a card of a person who is satisfied and has their needs met and enjoys things and enjoys life. So I think you're gonna find a very good place for your father.
Wonderful. That's good confirmation. Thank you. I appreciate that. And this new person coming in, would this person happen to be like a highly professional person? Maybe 2 years. Just
and it's an interesting the cards here. They both have a man on it. And to down here on the earth. And the other is the Hierophant, which is a card of religious authority. So it could be somebody from a religious charitable organization. Very good chance of that. But these are two very powerful figures. So yes, and listen, the next card I have is the Ten of Cups, which is great happiness. So I'm seeing things working out well. But as you know, it's very difficult. So, anything else you want to look at? Alexandra, are you there? Oh, sorry, I thought I lost you.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
No, I'm here. You cut out a little bit when I asked you about the person. Could this person possibly be like in the field of medicine?
Well, it is possible. I'm not. Let me see what else I can get here. Ooh, I have the Justice card also. That could mean a lawyer too. So that could be good. That could be somebody who knows the legal ins and outs here. But the Magician card, and the Hierophant card show a magical spirit. Those are both cards of spiritual power. So if it's a medical person, it's not just your run-of-the-mill pill pusher, but it will be a healer, a true healer, a true doctor, and those getting few and far between. But you'll find somebody good. Keep an eye out for legal stuff.
Like a surgeon.
That wouldn't be out of the question, but I'm not seeing one thing, yes or no, on that.
I see. Well, thank you, Reverend Eliot, for the confirmation. I really appreciate it.
Well, take care of yourself, because that Ten of Rods, it shows that you're feeling very burdened. So take some time out for yourself. You can't help other people if you don't help yourself first. You know that. So help yourself a bit more. Do something luxurious and nice for yourself and relax. Okay, because I went through a couple of years of helping my wife in a severe medical emergency, and I now I understand. I had a chance to put my own theories into practice, and yeah, I did have to take time out for myself, and there's good reason for that. It's not being selfish. It is not. It's like fueling your car. You know what I mean? It's although not as expensive. You know. So, yeah. No, look. Now I've got a card here that is of interest to me. It's the 10 of coins, and the reason is it shows a happy family centered around an old man who is content. And it's about the family and lineage and ancestors and then descendants and all. But what's interesting to me is the image on the card. It shows a happy family that is centered around a very old person. So there you go. There's even a nice dog in that picture. And the old guy's got his hand on the dog, and the dog has a paw on the guy's leg. You know, so that is good. The vibes of that are really, really good. I feel good now looking at that card. So things are going to go your way. You're doing a great job, and you're going to you'll be rewarded for this. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a good rest of the evening.
I sure will. I mean, I've picked up so much great positive energy from you. So yeah, this is a two-way street. Thanks a lot for calling.
All right.
Bye. Bye.
All righty. Good night.
Good night. And let's shuffle up the cards. And you know, this is it's a very difficult thing when we are suddenly thrust in the position of having to take care of someone close to us. And it is something that, in my experience, not just in what I had to go through in my life and with my situation here, but in the lives of other people I've worked with and known, is that we find reserves of strength that we didn't know we had. And we find a lot about ourselves. We find out a lot about ourselves. And we rise to the occasion, I find, as human animals, more often than not. And we are not, culturally, we're not the kind of people who, you know, put people out on the cold mountainside to die. You know, we help, and we look for what's best. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm going to skirt the politics on this, but as you know, above me here is New York City. And I live in New York, and I see a lot in the news about how terrible and horrible New York City is these days. And I just don't experience that. I just don't. Those of you who know New York City know, and this is a remarkable thing I'm about to say, since the lockdowns ended and since people got back out on the streets, when I wait on the corner for a light to change so that I can cross the street, more often than not, I get into conversations with complete strangers. And we just talk, and then the light changes, then we go on our way. And it's just a nice encounter. I spoke about this briefly a week or so ago about the conversations I've had with homeless people on the street who have been viewed as a horrible and alarming threat here. Well, it's a sad situation, and it's heartbreaking. But people are people, and I have known people who became homeless, and you know, they know what that can do to you. What the point I'm making is that there is a natural reserve of humanity and shared experience. Folks, we are all in this together. We are all on a ball that is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and traveling through space. We are all connected. There's one grand consciousness. And when I hear stories about how terrible New York especially is, I'm reminded that when I went for a walk the other day, a week or two ago, with my wife, who's learning how to walk again after a horrifically damaging experience, she fell down while we were walking. Of course, she was holding my arm, so she was able to let herself down gently. But 3 people came right over to help and get her up on her feet. 3 total strangers, you know, I mean, complete strangers. We have sidewalk cafes here. One guy just got up and left his table where he was eating with a friend and came over and helped. You know, complete strangers. Now, this is the city that we are told is everybody is vicious and evil and it's horrible. You know, let me tell you something about that New York stuff. You know the song Sinatra, right? If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, they say, meaning New York, right? Well, it's the opposite. If you can't make it in New York, you ain't making it anywhere. This is such an inviting town filled with opportunities. It's challenging, especially since the rents have gotten so wacky and out of control, but it's not a cold-hearted, horrible city. People help each other. People do good things for each other. Yeah, there are people who go out of their way to use the process to hurt people. I remember covering people like that when I published a newspaper here in New York, and we had more support to expose those people than opposing it. You see, their life is good. We all do it together. There's a hard veneer some people like to put on in various cities, but people know inside how to behave and how to be nice to people. And there's a lot more of that going around. It just doesn't make the front page of the papers. I mean, there's nothing in the newspapers that say, woman falls taking a walk, 3 strangers help her get up. You know, I couldn't even help her. They were there so fast, these people. See, that's New York. That's New York City. The city that never sleeps, which, as an old buddy named Ed Hochstein used to say, that's why it looks so crappy in the morning. But no, this is a sucker's town because we're all saps. Meaning we're good-natured, good, solid people. We're not the tough guys that people pretend they are. Look at this movie, Sweet Smell of Success. I mean, that's an engrossing movie, but that's not the New York I know. And I was in the theater. Speaking of theater, now let me tell you, if you can't make it here, I knew a guy who came to New York years ago just to be in the theater, just to be on Broadway and be an actor and be in the theater, and he loved it, but he got nowhere. He failed. You know why? This is puzzling to me. He hated gay people. Now, come on, guys. How can you want to be in a business like the theater and hate gay people? First of all, if you have hate in your heart, you're not going to succeed in something where you have to communicate. And theater is a form of communication. And when you have hate for even a segment of your audience, people are going to know it. But could you imagine that? Why would you want to go into the theater if you have so much hatred for a group of people who are almost prevalent in theater? You know, good Lord. Why do people do that to themselves? But they get filtered out. It's a wonderful town, as the old song goes. New York, New York. It's a wonderful town. And I'm a native, and I love it, and I wouldn't want to live anyplace else just yet. Who knows? I might branch out. The sad thing is every time I've left New York and gone on a trip somewhere, all I've ever seen were other New Yorkers. So what can you do? Terry in Bandon. Look, I almost said Brandon. You see what the news has done to me. Terry in Bandon, Oregon is next.
Hi.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Can you hear me? I'm above ground, sir.
So, I'm not quite making out what you're saying.
I'm above ground. Now, let me get the phone.
Oh, good. that is good. Yeah, you know, it's like the guy who gets up in the morning and checks the newspaper obituaries and says, "Okay, I didn't die. So I might as well go on with the day." I knew somebody who used to say, "I'm too old to die tragically young, so I'll continue." So, what can I look at for you tonight?
Well, that was my friend that set me up with this. My name's Jennifer. Hi.
Hi. Oh, so you're Jennifer, not Terry.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
No, Terry's sitting right next to me, though. She's a regular for you, so I've never been on your show.
Well, hey, it's just a conversation. What can I look at for you?
So, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Talking about New York, how you can't make it there, you can't make it there. So I'm vegan. My mom was vegan before I was even born. There's no demographics that I would fit into for that city. I'm still technically a virgin. I've never had children. I'm not part of any religious organization. New York, I probably wouldn't make it because there's no group that would help me. But over here in the woods where I live, in the middle of nowhere, I can make it. I can eat off the land, and I mean.
Well, you'd be surprised. The thing about New York is that it's a totally artificial environment. So yeah, I mean, I've done my share of camping and hiking and the Appalachian Trail and stuff like that. So I understand where you're coming from. But on the other hand, we have like Central Park here, which I'm not comparing to the woods. That's totally landscaped and it's artificial also. But there used to be a guy who taught a course in how to eat in Central Park because scallions would grow there and various kinds of edible things would grow. So, you'd be surprised. There's a group for everything here in this town. But yeah, this.
Not for vegans.
Yeah, well,
So
no,
it's not like a place where you get food.
I know plenty of vegans here in New York. Let me tell you, though, the thing is, the main difference is we are in New York City, and this goes for just about any city, it's a totally artificial environment. We are living in the product of the imaginations of many people. It's just not the same. I mean, let me put it this way. You look up at night, you're not going to see any stars because the lights cancel it out. So it's not a natural way to live. There's nothing wrong with living in a natural environment. I loved camping. I loved being in the woods. It's just I'm a city guy at heart. But yeah, there's room for everybody. And it's a big part of the city.
System, which is something I've never had. So.
Well, I certainly didn't have my family supporting me. I'll tell you that. And be, my own in a way. I mean, we're talking about somebody who got thrown out of the house at 11 years old. So I've been on my own quite a while. So, but I still love the place, So, anyway, you will, believe me, if you come here, you will find like-minded people. There is always a way to find people. I don't know, do people still do meetups? I guess not. I mean, I think that might have been killed in the pandemic, but there are so many different groups here, so many things. I actually, here in the middle of the city at the Ansonia Hotel, where the Continental Baths used to be, which became the notorious Plato's Retreat, that's where my Boy Scout troop used to meet. I actually joined the Boy Scouts here in the city as a child, I might add. So yeah, what you don't find, you can make, and you can make it happen. Which is not to deny your experience, obviously. It's just I'm just letting you know that there's a little bit more to New York than you might imagine, and there are parts of this city that look like the woods. It's not just all Manhattan. I happen to be in the Times Square area, but there are parts of the city that are almost rural, and we're not far away from the countryside. So. What can I look at for you, though?
Okay, so my future in the next 6 years, 2028.
Right. What would you like to know?
Okay, so I'm on a path right now, and I'm just wanting to know if it's going to be viable. Am I going to live through the next 6 years? In the next 4 to 6 years is what I'm really, between 4 and 6 years from now. How is my life going to continue on after 6 years? Because if it doesn't, why am I even trying?
Oh, so you want to know if you're going to die within the next 6 years? Is that to put it bluntly?
If I'm going to be killed, yeah.
I'm certainly not seeing any indication of that. Not in the least. I'm seeing quite the opposite. I'm seeing all kinds of cards of life and hope and joy and happiness. The sun is a card here for one thing. That is a card of healing and health and growth. Shows a little baby on a white horse surrounded by flowers, and in the sunlight. There's nature there, that's pretty decent. Gee, I hate to disappoint you, but I see no calamities coming your way in the next 6 years at all. I see good things. I see you're going to make things happen for yourself. That's the Six of Swords. The Ace of Swords tells me that your thinking is evolving and changing and growing, and that's going to be the big influence over these next few years, is you're going to change the way you think. It's going to grow in certain ways. And I'm not saying you're going to repudiate the way you think now. It's just you're going to see things differently, and your thinking is going to evolve, which is nice. The Empress is here. Now, that's another good one for you, because that sounds like the kind of person you are. This is a person who makes things happen and grow. For instance, in most tarot decks, this is a woman surrounded by fruit and vegetables and wheat and things like that. So it's a person who can create abundance.
So I'm going to ask you to shuffle again. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's happening with me, okay? So you'll know.
Sure.
And I would like you to get so shuffled. So my mom recently passed unexpectedly. She was due to a counselor, and she leaves me with no living relatives, no family. I have no living relatives, no family. I've never been married. I'm still technically a virgin. I have no children. I'm completely alone. So I look at my great-grandmother, Edith Tillman, and I learned that she's the first woman ever to be elected to the House of Representatives in Texas.
Oh, excellent.
4 women had the right to vote. So they went on to make the man did, made her the Speaker of the House, first female. and they made her the first female Supreme Court judge. Well, that's all cool, but she started the whole women's suffrage movement, and for the first time ever in 2028, 53% of the voting population is women. That plus the fact that my mom was vegan before I was born, and I found out through my great-grandmother, Edith Farrell, that her father, Benjamin Franklin, and I have Native Americans. So I've got 74% of the voting population. So I'm thinking about running for president. Well, I'm actually studying online right now. But I know that it's something I never wanted. I never wanted to be president, sir, but I'm willing to sacrifice the rest of my life, and even if I am assassinated, the chance to make a real difference.
Well, I'm telling you, I don't see any violence your way. I don't see any suffering or sadness. I see good things coming. I see plans being made. I see plans coming through. You know, it's up to you. I mean, the outcome I'm getting for you to look at the next 6 to 8 years is positive, and it's growth. And let me put it that way. That's the one thing I see in this next time frame that you want to look at. In all the cards I look at, I see growth. Okay, so that's good. You're working on it. And I think that we'll hear from you. How's that?
Okay, but if you would take just a couple minutes and reshuffle them and redraw them, so I'm just saying you'll see something. I'm just asking you as a favor.
Well, I'm doing that now. I mean, I just shuffled them again. I have the 9 of rods. You're very prepared for what you want to do. That's a good sign there. The 9 of cups. This is another 9, which is a good figure, which tells me that's a card about getting what you want and enjoying things and doing well. Temperance shows a life in balance and harmony. The 7 of rods, somebody who can wipe away obstacles and get things done. These are showing a powerful person who is in the process of growing and changing. I can't do anything in this limited format to show you anything deeper. We can do an off-the-air reading if you want to get in touch with me, and we can spend as much time as you want. But just to answer your one question, this period that you're looking at is not a time of danger or a problem for you. It's a time of growth and achievement, and you're going to attain all kinds of interesting things. There's new things emotionally happening for you. That's the Ace of Cups. Remember, we already had the Ace of Swords. So you're headed in for a very interesting period of time. Okay?
Okay.
Stay in touch. You know, I'd like to know what happens.
Thanks.
Bye-bye now. And we'll shuffle them up. I've never had to deliver the disappointing news to someone that they're not going to get bumped off. But, well, you know, being dead isn't everything in life, right? Holly in York, Pennsylvania, you're on next. Hi,
yes.
Holly. Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm all right. I've been better.
Well, let's see what we can do to gin that up a little bit and make you feel even a little better than that. What can I look at for you?
Well, I'm wondering if there's better times ahead.
Oh, yeah.
It's been really tough for me lately.
No kidding. I mean, it's been tough for everybody, but it's really been very, very bad for so many people. Let's shuffle them up and see what we get.
Okay.
Because overall, I see things coming out much better, but I'm going to look specifically at you here. Okay. Here's a good start. It's the 8 of Swords. That's a person who feels stuck and trapped and can't go anywhere and do anything. That's followed by the Page of Coins, which means that there's money coming your way. The Ace of Rods, something new in terms of work and career and life and things of that sort. The 9 of Rods, I just had that for the previous caller. That's a person who's prepared for what's coming and can handle it. Now, here's the $1 million card. The 10 of Swords. The 10 of Swords means that the worst is over. The life threw its worst at you, and you're still here.
Really?
Yep, that's what that shows. And that means you're going to get up and you're going to do fine. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That definitely doesn't mean it'll be easy, but it means that you're going to do it. And you have. This is the third time tonight I got this card, which is the Sun, which is healing and growth and health and happiness. You see. The bad stuff is going away, but right now it doesn't look like that because you're feeling stuck. If you look at the Eight of Swords as a card, it shows a person stuck.
Yeah.
There is a card here that and I expected to see this card. It indicates that one phase of your life is coming to an end and another phase is beginning. So you'll be able to look back on this time as the ending of where the past came to go, and now you're moving into the next phase of your life, and it's going to be very good for you. There's a mystical side to you, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, now of course I'm saying that because I had the High Priestess card here, but that's the kind of thing that I could infer that anyway because you're calling a show like this. But the High Priestess is here, which means that you're a person who's intuitive. You can see behind the veil. You've got the Magician card. It's the same thing here. The Judgment cards, because these three cards are major cards. And this tells me that you're at a turning point in your life. This is a very important time in your life, right?
Okay.
The High Priestess shows that you're intuitive and spiritual. The Magician shows that you have the power to use that spirituality here on the earthly level. And the Judgment card means that you're going to get what you deserve, what is owed you, you will get. And it's also a card of rebirth. It's a card of rebirth. Okay. Now, that fits in with what I said earlier, which is that I've got a card that indicates the end of one phase of your life and the beginning of another. It's almost like a new you is coming.
Yeah.
So hang in there. Just please hang in there because there really is good stuff coming. And I assure you, if I didn't see that, I would tell you. If I saw something that wasn't so hot, I would talk to you about that. And we would deal with it. But you have, in fact, you have great spiritual power, probably more than you know, because that's the Fool card I've got. The Fool card doesn't mean you're a dope. It's not about being a fool. It means the person is the beloved of God and has great spiritual protection and power. Have you ever felt that? You've gotten into some bad situations, but you worked out, it came out okay? You have spiritual protection. These are four major cards. They're among the four most important cards in the deck. I'm going to tell you what they are again, so you can look these up if you want to. The High Priestess, the Magician, the Judgment card, and the Fool. This is telling me that you're entering a phase in life that's going to be really, really good, and you're ready for it. You deserve it. That's the Judgment card.
Yeah.
And you're the one making it happen. You're not just sitting back waiting. You're making. So as difficult as this can feel, because change, even change for the better is bad for a lot of people. People won't take it. It's true. And there's this thing called, the psychological stress units for getting married, for instance, are the same at the same level for getting divorced. So there's no value judgment here in terms of the nature of the change, but in your case, you're changing things in your life are going to be changing for the better, but that still takes some getting used to. So let it wash over you and meditate on these things and tell yourself that there's a new stage in life coming. Here's the 10 of Cups, great happiness, great joy. The Justice card, again, along with the Last Judgment, that tells me if you're involved in anything of a legal nature, or it could just be a general thing, you are about to get all the things that you have been denied that you feel that you are deserved. It's coming your way.
Okay.
I've got to run. I've only got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
But
I thank you very much.
This is a very good. The thing is, right now you're feeling stuck and nothing's happening. Don't let that overwhelm you, because great change is coming your way. Change really for the better too. So I'm going to light a white candle to send positive energy your way. But something with a reading like this, you don't need
thank you.
You've got loads of positive energy coming. So hang on, because you're headed for the ride of your life. Your destiny is coming to knock on your door, and it's got good news for you. Okay. Got to run.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
My pleasure. Bye-bye now. end of another session of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window, show number 27,892. Well, it's 300 and something. I've lost track. I do number these shows in my files, but I've been pretty lax for the last few months. I think I've been lax since I had that flu in the spring. Whoa, that was one mother of a flu. Yeah. So remember, these are very stressful times, you know, and we have a whole industry called the news, which is going to try to dump as much anxiety into your system between now and election day as possible. That's what they're there for. And you know what happens the day after the election is over? They start covering the next election, and they want to ratchet that up. So we can't all be, living on tranquilizers, so, or gin. That's we just realize that these are people who are paid millions of dollars to keep us upset so that we tune in and watch. So don't let that get to you. So I will be back again next week, same time, same place, and we will look through the magical window of the tarot. Remember, till then, as I said earlier, time flies. It's up to you to be the navigator. Bye-bye now.